Pop Punk and Pizza podcast is presented by Pop Punk Takeout, a monthly subscription service that delivers merchandise from pop punk artists from all over the world directly to your door in a pizza takeout box. So for the holidays this year, they're releasing their very first compilation CD, A Very Pop Punk Christmas Volume 1. It features tracks from Settle Your Scores, College Radio, Stop Drop Rewind, TLB, and so many other artists that have actually been guests on Pop Punk and Pizza. So you can pre-order your copy today at poppunktakeout.com and also follow them on social media at Pop Punk Takeout.
I'm going out, I gotta go. I'll bang a rang on the radio. So turn it up, I'm telling you. I think I'm ready for something new. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.
You're listening to Pop Punk and Pizza with Jacques Lamour.
Hello, what is up? Happy Thanksgiving. You might be actually listening to this on the day of Thanksgiving, or maybe you're actually watching this, listening to the live stream the day before Black Wednesday. So I guess it just cover all the bases, you know? Happy Black Wednesday, happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, whatever the hell day it is that you're listening to this. The main point is I just want you to know how thankful I am for all of your love and support this year for Pop Punk and Pizza podcast. And I also hope you ditched the turkey and ate a pizza this year for Thanksgiving, because who wants to eat turkey anymore, right? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're more of a turkey fan than a pizza fan, but obviously I'm more about pizza than turkey because that's why I host Pop Punk and Pizza podcast. I am super excited about tonight's guest, actually a returning guest. Her name is Caitlin Edwards, and she fronts a really great Chicago ska punk band called Bumsy and the Moochers. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Hello, Caitlin.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am good. I'm very good today. Just getting ready, getting excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, so what's your food of choice? Like everyone has like a dish or like multiple dishes that are like their favorite for Thanksgiving, or maybe you don't even do like the whole traditional Thanksgiving.
I would definitely say for me, I mean, I see my family, and then actually this weekend, me and my roommate are having our Friendsgiving, which is also our first technical house apartment warming party since we just moved in together a few weeks ago. So, but I'm excited to have my own Friendsgiving finally. I've always been to them. They're so fun. But my number one food of choice is definitely stuffing all the way. Like I'm so bored with turkey. Like I'm just like, I'll have a little piece of turkey and then load on the stuffing and then get blueberry pie because I don't even like pumpkin pie either. So I go all out with something different.
Yeah, I'm all about I'd rather eat like apple pie or some kind of fruit.
Right?
I don't know if
so much better.
I mean, is pumpkin you know what? Is pumpkin a fruit? That's something I've always wondered. Or is it a vegetable?
Or is it a gourd?
Or yeah,
or is that the same as a vegetable?
Let's see.
Now we're gonna
is pumpkin a fruit? I mean, Google. Well, let's see. Fruit. Okay, this has to be legit. Fruitsandveggies.org. Are pumpkins a fruit or a vegetable? What is the difference between the two? Okay, a pumpkin from a botanist's perspective is a fruit because it's a product of a seed-bearing structure.
Makes sense.
Okay. And then it says vegetables, on the other hand, are the edible portion of plants such as leaves, stems, roots, bulbs, flowers, things like that. So I guess technically, if you're a botanist, it's, it's a fruit. So
it is a fruit. We now know.
But I guess I should say I prefer other fruits for my pie.
Yeah,
Not, I mean, I like pumpkin pie, but yeah, it's not like my go-to
it's so
pie.
heavy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Just
love
like
blueberry pie though. That sounds so
with
good.
the vanilla ice cream, you got like
Yes,
a
yes,
moon. I
yes.
could see my brother earlier. I'm like, I'm bringing. I can see
S-
it blood. Then yeah, I was like, I'm bringing vanilla ice cream and blueberry pie. So move over pumpkin pie.
That's honestly where it's at. I have to have obviously not on pumpkin. You can't really do it well on pumpkin, but all the other types of pies that have like the crust over it, you can
Yeah.
do that scoop of vanilla ice cream. That's what I'm all about. That's where it's at. I actually just picked up a Dutch apple pie to
Oh,
bring to my girlfriend's parents' house tomorrow for Turkey Day. So
yes.
looking forward to munching down on that. And I
Mm.
mean, we're not they're actually having chicken, which um is I don't know if I've ever had chicken on Thanksgiving. I've had ham. My family makes ham a lot, but not so much. I don't think they've ever
Mm.
made chicken before, so it's not going to be pizza, which I'm kind of disappointed. But I would rather have chicken over turkey for sure.
Me too. I was talking about somebody was saying they have like Cornish hens at my work. I was like talking with some of the coworkers and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have Cornish hens." I'm like, "That's still more appealing than turkey." Turkey's just I don't know, we're all tired of it.
Is it,
Or maybe
well,
some people aren't. I don't know.
yeah, I mean it's the tradition, right? And
Yeah.
whether a person follows that tradition, obviously there's a lot of people that are vegetarian or vegan or um what's the other I mean there's obviously pe pes pe
Episcopalian diet, is that what it's called?
Episcopalian, yeah, something there's all those different types of diets and lifestyles to consider. But yeah, I like deli turkey, but not the like the hey, let's cut it from the bird. Here you go, son. I don't
And you
know.
always have to slop some gravy on it because it's
It,
always dry, like, no
it's
matter who
dry.
makes it, it's still
Yeah.
so dry to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I know we're not we're not here to talk about turkey, but it's so great to catch up with you. It's been a couple years since we've actually been face to face. I know this is obviously virtual, but still, like, actually talk and have a conversation that's not via typing.
Mhm.
Because we have talked like briefly here and there. But I was just listening to the last time you were on the podcast, it was episode 82, so it's going back like
Oh,
two
wow.
years ago, and it was when Punk the Burbs 3 was happening in Lyle at base camp.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, this was, like,
It was 2000,
2018.
no, it was 2019.
Oh, for PTB3.
Yeah,
The Punk was
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That was oh my gosh.
I know.
It wasn't that long ago, but it feels that long ago.
Yeah, it's because it still feels like we just kind of skipped a whole year,
2020
Obviously
didn't
with
count.
yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And 2021 is like, well, it barely happened.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I was listening to the start of the episode before we were talking now, and that was back when Green Day, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy were teasing the whole Hella Mega tour. And you and I were both amped about it because you're also like me. You're a huge Green Day fan.
Yes, I'm like a super fan. Like even the new stuff, like not as good obviously, but I'll still be into it. That's the true measure of a super fan. Like they could do no wrong.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at too. Like I guess I'm one of those fans where I literally like almost everything they put out.
Mhm.
There's nothing that I dislike. But what did you think of their last record? What were your thoughts on it?
Father of All, that was the last one,
Yeah,
right?
father
Yeah.
of all motherfuckers.
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
just father of all to edit, but obviously we can cuss on this podcast, so but
well,
yeah, father of all.
So, I remember being like, "What the hell is this cover?" Like, wasn't a fan of the cover. I was like, "This looks like Billy Joe really, like, made this cover." I could just tell, but something about this unicorn. I mean, unicorns are awesome, but it was just I don't know, it's just so random. But musically speaking, I mean, I know they were trying something different, and you know what, like, kudos to them for doing that because let's be honest, like, especially when it comes to pop punk, I mean, you can only write the same type of music for so long, especially when they're, like, pushing 50, like, they're gonna try different things, they're not gonna make another Dookie. So, I get it, I get they were trying to do a different sound, and honestly, there were a few songs that I liked. I mean, being a super fan, like, um what was it? Sugar Youth. That was my favorite song on that album because it had the perfect mix of that new Green Day sound plus like the Nimrod American Idiot feel. I don't know if you're yeah, if you're a Green Day fan, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah, I liked Sugar Youth. I also liked I Was a Teenager. I thought
I gotta
that
give that one another listen. I don't know.
it was I was a teenager, and it was like this, it was like big gang vocals, for that
Mm.
for the hook of it, like the whole chorus, and I really or maybe gang vocals isn't the right word, but it's a huge, huge layer of vocals on that to where it made it sound like there was like a tiny army um, singing the chorus, and I
No,
really liked that. And the hook just it just got me. I really that's definitely was one of my favorites from Father of All.
well, I feel like that was kinda like Graffitia too. Like, I liked Graffitia
Yeah.
that way where it was very gang vocally and echoey at the end, and it was super catchy. So that song and Meet Me on the Roof Tonight and the first one,
Yes.
even Father of All, like I can't help but love that drum beat. I mean, I know some people are like, it's copying off a Jimi Hendrix song, but at this day and age, like, I'm sorry, when it comes to rock music, you know, everything has been done before. Like nothing it's all yeah.
I know a lot of people compared the record to like the Black Keys.
Yeah,
You
I could
know.
hear that, I could hear that, but yeah, I mean, it had its own little Green Day twist on it, and yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite production-wise, like, recording and production-wise, I'm more of a fan of, like, the Nimrod production or Dookie, but, I mean and yeah, it wasn't oh my god, it didn't blow my hair back, but I
Yeah.
felt, "Hey, you can get a couple of good songs out of it," which is basically what I feel new Green Day is, now ever since after, American Idiot 21st Century Breakdown, I feel that their albums, there's a few good songs and then there's a filler. At least in my opinion, I feel like the old Green Day before American Idiot, oh my God, you can listen front to back. But their new records, I just sometimes I gotta skip. And it's a bummer, but I'll still see them live, and that's another thing too. It's like, "Oh, you know what? Even if I didn't like this record, this is not gonna stop me from, like, seeing them."
Yeah, and I remember that was one of the last times we talked. Did you end up selling your tickets for Hella Mega? Because I think you were trying to. I don't know if you did. Ended up
So
doing that because obviously Hella Mega was supposed to happen in 2020. It
mhm.
didn't, and then it was moved to the following year. And yeah, like a lot of people sold their tickets because they're like, yeah, I lost my job, and
Coronavirus.
yeah, like I need food, I have bills to pay, so I'm gonna sell my tickets.
Mhm.
So yeah, did you end up going? Because I went to the Chicago show.
I, so this is what happened. So I remember I was when it was supposed to, before the pandemic, I remember being ready, like, I took a break at work, I'm like, "I'm ready to buy these tickets," and then when I saw the price for 2 tickets, I was like, "No, no, this is I can't. Oh, I cannot justify this purchase right now because it was over $300." And I
Yeah,
thought,
that's what I ended up spending.
I just wanted to wait and be like, "You know what? Let me just wait. I can maybe find something cheaper. Somebody's probably gonna sell their ticket. I'm just gonna wait." So then the pandemic happened. I'm like, "Oh, good thing I didn't buy a ticket." but it was still sold out, and especially the floor seats. Because when I see Green Day, I need to see them on the floor. I don't see them. It's you know what this
I
is.
I I know it that I'm the same way when it comes
You
to Green Day. Like
super fans we
no.
cannot sit in a seat and sing along to Longview. No, no,
And
no,
be
no.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards away.
No, no, no,
You
no,
know,
no.
or
I
feet,
will
hundreds of
literally
feet away.
I mean, and I even have a story too. I remember the 3rd time I saw Green Day, me, my brother, like a guy I was dating at the time and like his brother, whatever, we were in like the nosebleeds. We got nosebleeds tickets, but we were all like, fuck this. And we were like, we saw there was a table right before you got onto the GA floor seats, a table with all these wristbands to get you on the floor. And my younger brother like swiped like a couple and ran, and the
Dude.
security was chasing him in fucking, was it Rosemont? I think it was at Rosemont
Okay.
or United Center, one of those, and just chasing him. And he's like, I just bought a shirt, at a merch thing, so they don't recognize me. Come get me upstairs and I'll give you the wristbands. And so we basically like
So he dodged security.
yeah, he dodged security to get us these GA wristbands just so we can
Dude.
see him up close, because that's how even like my friends at the time and my brother, like we do not see Green Day in no seats. No, we will literally go to lengths of just swiping the bands and
Yeah.
just booking it to the floor. Like, so, but that was the thing. So, but what ended up happening, flash forward to Hella Mega Tour, oh, it's happening. And then I messaged you and I was like messaging people, oh, I want to go now that like I've been vaccinated, things have calmed down. Then I saw the price once again. And just at the time, I was just like, and I don't know, it was still around the time when they played, it was still around the time that people were still getting vaccinated. And I just, as much as I love Green Day, and I swore to myself, like the first thing when they go back on a tour, I will see them,
Yeah.
because now I
Yeah.
don't know. The pandemic made you realize like you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yep. Yep.
So, but then I just had that moment where I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till, another time, because yeah, people weren't vaccinated yet. I don't want to get sick. And being a music therapist, I'm not somebody who can just get sick and work from home. If I get sick, like I can't work. So it was just kind of, just being cautious, but I still regret it in the back of my head. I should have, because that's a great lineup. Weezer,
Oh yeah.
Fall Out Boy, Interrupters, and Green Day. I love all those bands. So,
Yep.
but next time I won't let the price get me down.
Yeah, I was really scared to go to, just for, he's still in this pandemic thing. I wore a mask the whole time, so,
Yeah.
I was fine. And
It looked fun.
it helped that it was outdoors too, I
Yeah.
feel like with going to shows now that it's cold, there's not outdoor shows, there's obviously a little more risk, I feel like, involved, especially it's always this time of the year everyone's getting sick, whether it's
Yeah.
COVID or not, so it's like
Very
you've
true.
got you've got a cough, you're like, crap, do I have COVID? I've got a fever, do I have COVID? Like, that's still a thing, I mean, because we're still sort of in this weird
In
uh,
between, yeah.
twilight zone, whatever the hell
Yeah.
you want to call it. Um, and but yeah, so that it bums me out. But yeah, it was a great show. It was definitely one of the best times I've seen Green Day live.
But I didn't get too bummed out because I snuck a peek at the set list online.
Hmm.
And it didn't look like anything I hadn't seen before. Like, I regret not seeing them at Aragon Ballroom because I heard that was the show where they
That
played Armitage Shanks and, like, Kerplunk songs,
Yes,
and
I think that was by far, because I did see that last time they were at Aragon, and that was probably my favorite performance I've seen of them by far. That was just an
Mhm.
amazing show. The set list was great. I don't think there was anything new except for they played their newest single at the time at
Mm.
on the Hella Mega Tour. They didn't play anything from Father of All, but they played, I think it was Pollyanna. I think it was
Oh, yeah,
their
that one,
latest
yeah,
single.
that
They have
single.
Yeah, they've since put out a single since then, but at
Mm.
that time in the summer they had released that single. They played that, of course. Um, but that was, I think, the only song that I hadn't seen them play live. So, but yeah, still a great show.
Yeah.
But let's get to Bumps. Let's get to Bumsy the Moochers. My goodness, like so much has happened for you and Bumsy in the last 2 years since we've talked, since you've been on the podcast. Um, you've signed with Sell the Heart Records, which, if I'm not mistaken, so Andy, we had on the podcast. Excuse me, on the podcast last week from Sell the Heart Records, Tsunami Bomb, and I think it was also in 2019 when Tsunami Bomb played Punk the Burbs Fest 3, right? Wasn't Didn't they
Yeah.
play that one?
Mhm.
So it's kind of fitting that like you're coming back like at this time, since the last time we talked you were playing a show, Bumsy was playing a show with Tsunami Bomb, and now like you're on a record label that's affiliated with one of their members. So
Mhm.
I'm assuming that conversation started probably about 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, thinking about it. Yeah, only 2 years ago, and then it's crazy how things change and everything. But yeah, cause yeah, Andy and I kept in touch, after Tsunami Bomb played Punk the Burbs Fest 3. And I remember him messaging me and him talking about Sell the Heart and, hey, you ever need a label to put out your solo stuff or Bumsy stuff. And then, at the moment we were fine, but then I was hitting him up. I think I can't remember. This was yeah, in 2020, where I was saying, "Hey, we're about to release some singles, and it would be great if Sell the Heart can put them out." But then he was saying, "Well, I'm kind of full on bands right now. I'm really busy, but I'll get back to you. Send me the songs and let me listen and make sure it's a good fit and everything, and we can talk." And he liked the songs when I sent him like the rough mixes and everything, and he was like, "Yeah, we'd love to put it out," because especially too, I don't think they had a ska band either on their label. So, it's great to have labels that are very, diverse in genre, but, still stick true to the message and, the at least the punk genre, and ska is just, ska punk is one of those punk subgenres, if that makes any sense. So
One of the many,
one of the many, but, and so he's gotta have us on there, and, and yeah, Andy's, he likes to work with a lot of bands that, he knows the people personally, or he just, enjoys the music, and he likes ska, and, me and him, we definitely, hit it off. I visited him back in June when I was in San Francisco. We were at like a brewery. I met him. I'm like, can we meet at a brewery near Gilman Street? Because I gotta make,
Did
you
you get to
know,
go to Gilman?
I did. It
Oh,
wasn't
that's
even open, but I
Oh
didn't even
no.
care. I was like, you need to make the pilgrimage, as they say,
Yeah,
at
that's
least once in your life. So
yeah.
I was like, I'm here in San Francisco. I'm going. Meet me there. He's like, "Okay, it's very unassuming, just so you know." And he was right. I totally passed it when I was like, "Where is this Gilman Street where it all started?" And it's just in this little thing in in this building, little light. It was a green light and a fish behind it. It was, this door, but it was locked because of the pandemic. They weren't having shows yet.
Well, that's
But
true. That makes sense.
but I remember, and my mom was with me too, because we both traveled up the coast in June, and she took a picture of me, and Andy's just watching me, and he's just like, "Yep, this is it." And then, yeah, we had a drink, and yeah, and that's where we talked further, and just because, like I said, Andy likes to, know the people that are on the label and make sure, we're both on the same page as far as like our views and our messages and our music and what we want for the band, what we want, as far as, releasing and our plans for releasing an album, what's the future look like. And he wants to make sure everything like that, lines up, and it did. And yeah, Andy's awesome. So, and I feel so lucky too, because we've really never been on a label like this. Whenever we've done something on a label, it's always been some kind of smaller label that didn't really fit the genre. This is really the first label that has really, I think we've connected with, and it's really boosted, our fan base and our listeners. So, thank you, Sell the Heart Records. And also the bands on Sell the Heart Records are great. I mean, a Decent Criminal. Um, oh my God, who was I just listening to?
Uh,
Heavy
there
Seas,
is, excuse me, there's neck scars,
Next
neck,
Scars. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
like so many good bands. So I feel so, privileged to be or on this label, and so is the rest of the band. So yeah, we couldn't be more thankful to get on it. And I'm so glad we chose Tsunami Bomb to headline Punk the Verbs, because yeah, I don't think it would have happened if they wouldn't have headlined.
I
We
was
would
gonna
have
say, did you like literally just learn about Sell the Heart when a tsunami bomb came to, the Chicago suburbs to do that fest, or did you? It
pretty
pretty much is when you learned about.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, because I didn't know too much about it until, yeah, Andy talked to me about it after they headlined. And but they've been around. It's still a new label, but they've still, they've gotten some great bands on there, and made some good headway, and released some great music. And yeah, it's so I was like, man, why did I know this before? This is such a great label, because like I said, it introduced me to Decent Criminal, Neck Scars, Heavy Seas. I was like, whoa. Because it's mostly based out of, San Francisco area. It just goes to
right.
show there's so many. And then that just makes me want to search for more new music, because then I'm like, what other labels have I not discovered? I mean, I feel like I know so many, but there's so many that I don't know.
Yeah, there are so many record labels. I like every day I'm learning about a new one.
Yep,
It's
same. Yep.
it's mind-blowing to me. It's like there's a and it makes sense because think about all the bands there are in the world, really. I mean, the world is smaller and smaller anymore, and getting smaller with the way technology is anymore, right? So you got to have, I guess, you got to have all these labels to kind of keep up with the demand, I suppose.
Definitely.
Whether it's a smaller label, a mid-sized, or larger. So I know when Andy was on, we ended up talking about like Kung Fu records, which I had completely forgotten about. So I'm trying to, I can't remember exactly how we got on the topic of
That's
Kung
a
Fu.
pop punk label too, right?
It was like a punk label, and I was asking him because I hadn't heard much about Kung Fu since like the '90s or the 2000s, and
Mhm.
I was like, what happened to him? And he's like, well, they got absorbed by, I think it was Cleopatra Records, is what he told me about. Like they bought the the catalog of Kung Fu, something along those lines. So it was like, oh, okay.
You know what this
So
reminds me of? And I think I was just what was it? I saw Lucky Boys Confusion, Dog and Everything, until Morning at the Bottom Lounge a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to the drummer of Till Morning, Mickey, and we had the same conversation about all the old labels that just went away, but they introduced us to so many great bands. Like we were talking about Drive Through Records, and then he's like, "Yeah, there was this band and this band was on it." And but then, it fell apart. But now the people who owned it, they're doing other stuff with bands, so it's not like they totally left the music scene. But it's crazy how all these labels used to, or Fueled by Ramen too. Like, I don't know if they're even do anything anymore. And
yeah,
like,
they're still around. They just
they did. Oh, okay. Because
yeah.
I
Um
just feel like I don't know.
one of their latest signings was Meet Me at the Altar. If you
Oh,
might
I
have,
love that band. Wait,
yeah.
that's Fueled by Ramen? I totally thought a
Yes.
different label released Meet Me at the Altar. I don't
I'm
know why.
almost positive they signed to Fueled by Ramen, and I think that
Good for
happened
them.
just this year. And it could have happened last year too. I've noticed that between 2020 and 2021, it's hard to decipher between the two, but I'm almost positive that's what that's what took place. So yeah,
That's awesome.
they're still around, still doing amazing things and working with incredible artists. So yeah, it's like I know Victory Records is another one that recently, shuttered, but they were also their catalog was bought by another label, and I can't
Mm,
remember once again which label that
yeah.
was, but it was just, it just it happens. It happens a lot. It's a common thing. But I didn't realize that Bumsy had worked with some other labels though before Sell the Heart. I thought that was like the first one that you had worked with.
Sometimes I like to say it's the first one. Just the first I don't how do I say this? The first one that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like, Sell the Heart's, like, the first label on that actually makes sense, and if I'm being totally honest, a label that really acts like a label, like Sell the Heart Records, I mean, Andy does such a great job, he works with the bands, but he does so much hard work, it's great, and he does more than just, because sometimes you get on labels and really it's like you're still doing what you coulda done yourself, like, "Oh, message this person," or bought these CDs from, CD Baby or wherever. I could have done that, or make a post, it's like we could do that. But Andy actually has the connections that I couldn't get to because I feel like I have a lot of connections just being in the music scene for so long, but there was just some connections I couldn't get to, like Brooklyn Vegan and New Noise Magazine. And he really helped us in that aspect with getting, our name out there and getting these places to, premiere our singles, which is amazing. But and he does so many other things. I mean, he promotes like crazy. His posts are so engaging. And so he really runs like a label. But the other labels well, no, there was so the one that we released on Spaced Out was called Imminence Records. And it was a label that messaged us just before Spaced Out and said, "Hey, we're this label and we're trying to diversify, our bands," because they were mostly known for metal bands. And I think someone in Bumsy at the time said, "Oh yeah, they're a pretty decently well-known label." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" Because I'd never heard of them. But then again, I don't know too much about the metal scene. But so but then we decided, well, hey, let's take a gamble because from the way they were the manager was talking to us and the website, it looked legit. But then come to find out, the guy was basically doing that label, I don't know, really didn't function like a label, didn't really post stuff, when the album was released, it only made one post when it was released, there really wasn't, they really weren't doing what they should be, I believe, as a label. So that's when we just, broke clean from them. Um, but I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one other, maybe like Frisky Morris. I know Steven DeFalco. I don't know if we were ever officially on their label. I don't think we were. No, 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 we weren't. We weren't. But they did. Um, they would put out like some of our songs like demos when we first started. The first album Board Up, and then we did like
Okay.
a live EP. They put it out on Bandcamp. But they're awesome too. Frisky Morris Sessions. But I don't think they're actively having bands on their label. I still think he does the podcast though. But Steven DeFalco is great. But yeah, I think it was just that Imminence Records. It just wasn't a great deal, and
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I mean, especially if it was a genre thing, that sounds so strange, like being on a metal label and you're a ska punk band, like,
yeah. And they
you
only had
know.
one other punk band on their label. But you live and you learn, I guess. I
I
told
was
the
gonna
guy,
say, yeah, it's a
I'm
learning
like, no more. If
experience.
any label wants to put us out and their genre is just a little too out left field, we're gonna have to say no, because it works better in our favor when we're with other bands that are similar to our genre, and or at least people and labels that know how to promote our genre and know who to
Right.
contact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, you've had some really solid shows this excuse me, this year. Getting to play with Suicide Machines, right? Was it Suicide Machines or Mustard
Uh,
Plug? Or maybe it was both.
Jay Navarro and the Traders and Mustard Plug and
Okay,
Catfight
that's
was
what
such a
it
cool show.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was Catbite, but for some reason, I guess I forgot it was just Jay on his own with his
Yeah.
own project and not Suicide Machines. But still, like, that's pretty rad. Was Andy the connection there, or was that something that you sought out on your own?
So actually, well, we've played with Mustard Plug a few times, And Dave from Mustard Plug reached out to us.
Oh, nice.
He sent us an email like, "Hey, we're playing in October the show with Jay Navarro and the Traders and Catbite." This was like just as stuff was starting to open again, and he sent us this message, and I said, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, like,
Duh,
no, sorry,
um,
sorry, I
oh yeah,
not
sorry, I didn't mean
available.
to play that. Like, because all these bands are like Catbite's killing it right now. Jay Navarro and the
Yes,
Traders, great, of course, and and just Jay Navarro just is total ska legend. Of
right.
course, I've never played with him or any of his bands, and then Mustard Plug we've played it with before, but they kill it every time. It's such a great show every time, and I know our fan base loves when we get on these shows because it's like a bonus for them. They come to see us, but when we're with some mega ska bands, they come out even more, and it's so great. So yeah, Dave reached out to us just because yeah, we played with them like once or twice before, but yeah, Dave is awesome.
And I mean, it's not only they're well known in the ska world, but they're Midwest ska royalty. Like
Definitely.
both of those artists. One, I mean, Catbite. I don't. I guess they're still like on the East Coast, and they're not necessarily
Yeah,
because
Philly, yeah.
they're in Philly, but yeah, they've been really killing it as well. So,
They
um,
told me, they said, like, we were chilling at the merch table, she said, "Yeah, we've only been doing this, like, as a band, we've only been a band for what, year and a half, 2
yeah.
already blowing up the." She's like, "I can't believe this tour has been such a ride." I'm like, "Congrats, that's amazing." It's because they have a unique sound. I think that's
Yes.
why, it's something unique, something different to bring to ska.
Yep, and that's what it's that's like any genre. Like you can't be like your predecessor. You have to be different. You know, you have to bring something different to the table because someone already did that before. So you
Right,
kind of have to. I mean, if you're really looking, obviously, to climb your way up the ladder, and I mean, if you're not, then that's totally fine. Like that's cool. But like, if you're really wanting, if you've got those big aspirations, then you know you got to
right,
you got to bring something different to the table. But I
definitely.
mean, I love Bumsy and the Moochers just because it reminds me of some of my favorite bands, like Less Than Jake, and obviously sounding like Mustard Plug, and there's sometimes where I'm listening and I'm thinking, man, like this could have been a Less Than Jake song, like it just sounds it sounds in that vein, and I'm a huge Less Than Jake fan. So,
They're my favorite ska band, really.
yeah.
Them and, yeah, what was it? What was I who was I just thinking about? Less Than Jake and Suicide Machines. I
Yeah.
mean, but Less Than Jake especially because I love how they combine pop punk and ska, so nicely, and the switch of Chris and Roger's voice. I mean, their horn lines are so catchy. The bass lines are just always moving. It's perfect ska for me. It's the perfect type of ska for me. And that was my biggest influence, writing songs when we first starting out. But still, even to this day, especially with this new record we're releasing, there's a lot of songs that sit on the heavier side. We're trying because we definitely have done a lot of pop punk sounding records and songs, but this album's going to be on the heavier side. But I wrote Kathy Ann is a good example. I had Less Than Jake in mind. I'm like, I need a poppy banger, like similar to Less Than Jake, for this album to just kind of be a little breather. And so I wrote this song, Kathy Ann, about, my mom, because I love my mom. She's awesome. But, it's like I want to write about just a day in the life of her because yeah, she's a hard worker, but she's also really funny. And so I'm like, that works for a ska song. Anytime you wanna do something funny, it works with ska. So,
Yeah,
right
it's
writing a
true.
ska
Yeah,
song like
I
that,
right. It
and
it
Less Than Jake, right, does so good with that, putting humor in ska. So,
yeah.
yeah, I had them in mind. Yeah,
And the way they do it is different than um like Real Big Fish is more on like the corny end of it,
yeah,
I feel like,
yeah.
whereas and Less Than Jake doesn't do it on every song, but when they have done it over the years, like there's one I'm thinking of, was it Peter Jackson is Getting Married? Is that the name of the song?
So, or some,
It
yeah,
and it's on Borders and Boundaries. You
something like
you
that.
know which song I'm talking about?
I do. They
I
they they have titles like that, like Johnny. Is it Johnny Quest Things for Sellouts?
yeah. Sorry, I gotta. I know. I could swear it's Peter. Okay, it is. It's Pete Jackson is getting married. Okay, so I said Peter, but yeah. So Pete Jackson is getting married. Like, there's humor in that song. Like, it's funny. It's kind of silly, you know. Um, and I mean, that's just one example, but that's the first one that comes to mind, you know. And yeah, Kathy Ann, I could see how that comes into play. Definitely gave me a good chuckle, and I was like, I had wondered just because of looking at the single artwork for Kathy Ann because it's an old photograph. So I
Mhm.
was thinking this has to be about a mother or a sister or an aunt or something along those lines. So the fact that it's about your mom, it sounds like you're like best friends with your mom.
Oh, totally. Definitely. I mean, yeah, we went on this road trip together up the coast of California in June. Um, so and we always talk and about anything. Like I feel, yeah, she's that one go to I can talk to about anything, or if I'm feeling stressed or anxious, like I can go to her, talk to her and just vent, and her the same to me. And she's so funny, makes me
What
laugh. Just
what does she do that's so funny? Is it just
oh my
the her
goodness.
attitude?
Yeah, just sometimes their attitude towards things, or just yeah, in the song, I talk about, because all, most growing up as a kid, she was definitely, a cautious mom because she's a nurse, and she never wanted us jumping on trampolines, or, she was always like, wash your hands. I mean, that's why when the pandemic happened, I was like, you don't need to tell me. I've been told to wash my hands since coming out the womb, like
you
constantly.
you came out of her. Make sure you wash her hands right
Yeah.
now.
And then funny stories. See, that's the thing. We can have a whole podcast episode of funny moments of my mom. I'll never forget when and it was actually going to my because my dad was born in Alabama, and we were going to see his family for Thanksgiving, and we were young, we were little, and we stopped at this hotel somewhere in Indiana or something. It's kind of, not the best hotel, but whatever. We had to stop. And I remember, like, me and my younger brother, we had to sleep in one bed, and then my older brother in like a cot, and my parents in the other. And then I remember, like, my mom waking up in the morning, and she was turning over our sheets, and she saw there was like this condom at the end of our bed under the sheets. We didn't even like she saw this, like she was like, what the fuck, she ended up complaining about. And then my older brother, because I can't remember, I think I remember my older brother's like, mom told you to get you and Ben, like, immediately gave you guys a bath, because she didn't even know, like, she goes and she sees, she's like, oh my god, my kids are like in this nasty ass bed. And so and I remember she said she shows me she still has the report she filed to the hotel about it, like,
Oh man, she
yeah,
kept
this
that,
was
huh?
in the bed. So she still has that receipt, and I think she showed me this, like, probably during the pandemic. I was like, you still have this? Or the time we went to the zoo, and what was it? We were watching like the gorillas, and one of the gorillas like reaches around to eat its own shit. And I'll never forget my mom saying, "Is that gorilla eating its own shit? I'm fucking out of here." And she just runs out the pen. And here's me and my younger brother just like sitting, like, "Mom, where'd you go?" And my mom was so disgusted. She ran, like, her reaction. Sometimes it's like you had to be there to like laugh, but I mean, just her reactions to things, sometimes it's so extreme, but it's funny, you know.
where was TikTok then?
Yes.
Like
Or my mom could make TikTok videos, or the way she just also doesn't give a shit too. She's not someone who she doesn't, she's naturally beautiful. She doesn't need makeup or like fancy dresses, or she doesn't need to go out every weekend and, get all fancied up. I mean, nothing wrong with that if you do, but she's just more of a chill, laid back personality, and she sees something on TV, she's just gonna be like, "Oh, this is so, dumb." She's not into
yeah.
the whole celebrities and, she's just she's really grounded in reality and just, she's a hard worker and, yeah. So that's why my mom's awesome.
Well, I mean, she's a nurse. She's got to be
And
tough.
yeah,
Nurses are tough
yeah.
people.
And
So
funny people. I
and
think that's why she's so funny because nurses have to be funny or you get burnt out.
well, that's true because of the obviously the situations they're put in. So
Mhm.
there not all of them, but a lot of them have that sick, s- dark, twisted humor. Just
Yes.
because of their environment, right?
And
So
yeah, I work at a hospital. I'm a music therapist at the hospital I work at. I work with mostly nurses, and I mean, we always, we take our job very seriously, but we got to joke sometimes, or yeah, you'll get burnt out. But some of the humor, it could be dark, it can get out there, but we got to survive somehow in this
yeah,
setting.
absolutely. Well, I think I think it would be great to close out with playing Kathy Ann if you're cool, because I've got that queued up here if you want to play
Yes,
it.
yes.
So, but before I play it though, let's talk about where everyone can find Bumsy, and also you did mention, Sell the Heart Records has this is what, the second or third single they've
This is
released.
the third one,
Eh,
and
But you mentioned a record though, so there actually is one coming. I'm assuming next year at some point.
yes. So, well, we want to record this winter.
Okay.
Um, but the bass part will have to wait. So our bassist recently injured his thumb,
Oh no,
and in a rugby thing, he just had surgery on it last week.
rugby? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah, our bassist plays rugby. He's like, "I'm
Nice.
officially done with rugby. This is getting in the way of my music." I'm like, "Dude, that eventually that's what you gotta choose sides when people do sports and music, eventually they have to pick one because and so that's what happened, but
Sometimes, yeah.
sometimes. But yeah, he's like, "I'm done." But yeah, because he's gonna be out a few months, so we're gonna take this winter to try and, finish this album because the songs are there, the songs are ready, we just gotta record them.
Okay.
As far as it being released on Sell the Heart Records too, I mean, we're gonna talk to Andy more about that, but yeah, Andy wanted to just do the singles for now, and Sell the Heart might be releasing the album. I hope they do, but yeah, it's gonna be we're recording the album this winter and it's definitely a banger for sure. So watch out for
Awesome.
that.
Yeah, look forward to that. So I think all your socials, it's all Bumsy and the Moochers, right? For the most part.
Yeah. All Bumsy and the
Okay.
Moocher, yeah, at Bumsy and the Moochers for Instagram, Bumsy and the Moochers on Facebook. We don't really do Twitter. I'm trying to think if we're on any other platform. I mean, we got a link tree, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then of
I know
course
you're on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Thank you. Sorry, I'm like, oh, and YouTube. We got our stuff on YouTube. Our music video for Living the Nightmare, one of the singles is up there too. Really fun. So check that out. But also Sell the Heart Records too. Yeah, you can find all this on their platforms too.
Cool. Yeah, anything else, Caitlin? I mean, it's been great catching up with you. I guess we didn't really get into like how Punk the Burbs went for this year because it did happen this year, and I'm
Oh,
hoping it'll come back next year as well, right?
yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, yeah, just to make it brief, I mean, yeah, Punk the Burbs Fest 4, I think it was a success for what we were given. It was very much DIY this year. Last minute booking at Tivoli Bowl in Downers Grove. I mean, and we didn't get to, we didn't have any sponsors this year except School of Rock. We didn't get to hire a lot of help. So it was a lot of our friends and bandmates helping out. I think that made it even more punk in a way,
Oh,
more
that's definitely
DIY.
so punk rock.
It was my PA and then my friend Dave's PA combined. I mean, we were running the PA. We weren't even paying a sound guy. So very DIY, but somehow we made it work. So it was still successful, but we can't wait till Punk the Burbs Fest 5 where we can definitely take it up a notch. And there's definitely some headliners we have in mind that I think people really, really, really be excited about. Crombies were great, but we're definitely we want to get people excited again for something new on there on the next year's lineup. So we'll definitely have it next year. But yeah, keep your eyes out for that. And then I don't know, as far as Bumsy, yeah, keep an eye out for the new record, which will be coming out soon. We just got to record it this winter. We don't have any shows coming up at the moment just because of what our bassist, is going through. It's hard.
Darn
We'll
it.
probably Right, we'll probably do some acoustic shows here and there. I mean, I'm going to Arizona in January, and I'm gonna
Oh,
try and
okay.
maybe do, like, a solo acoustic set there
Cool.
for, like, Bumsy songs, so you might catch me there, but, yeah, so yeah, just keep listening to the new singles, keep an ear out for the album, and the shows will probably start playing shows again, once the spring hits, because I think that's when his thumb will be all good to go.
I would
But
hope so.
yeah, please. Yeah, but yeah, that's it.
Awesome. All right. Well, Caitlin, it was so great to catch up with you.
Yeah, you
And
too.
happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, you
And
too. Yeah.
Friendsgiving too. So,
Friendsgiving, happy Thanksgiving, happy Friendsgiving. We're
yeah.
having blueberry and apple pie, people,
Yes.
remember.
Yes, that's right. Don't you
Down with the
forget it.
pumpkin pie.
And maybe some pizza pie. Who knows? I
And
mean,
pizza pie, even better, so
might yeah, might might even sneak that in there somehow.
and chicken.
And chicken. Yeah. Got to have chicken, right.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Of course.
Bye, guys.
No one does it like Kathy, yeah. Running errands just as fast as she can. She's riding to work with the Metro Treasures, taking everything she can stand. Want to introduce you to the baddest woman around. She makes money, she's real funny, she's an Audra Jelly fan. She don't like public restrooms, hotels, trampolines. You better keep your bedroom nice and clean. So take warning, she says. Don't forget to wash your hands. TV news overload, not afraid to take control. A Dunkin' iced coffee is all that she needs. No one does it like Kathy, yeah. Running errands just as fast as she can. She's riding to work with the Metro Trader, taking everything she can stand. I'd like to thank her for letting me live at home while I pay off these bullshit student loans. She don't really like to drink, she don't care what people think. Guess I'm turning out just like her. Nothing like No one does it like Kathy, yeah. Running errands just as fast as she can. She's riding to work with the Metro Trader, taking everything she can stand. No one does it like Kathy, yeah. Running errands just as fast as she can. She's riding to work with the Metro Trader, taking everything she can stand.
Kathy and Bumsy and the Moochers here on Pop Punk and Pizza Podcast about Caitlin Edwards, who was just talking with us. That's about her mom, which I absolutely love it. It's so much like Less Than Jake, and that's probably why I love it so much. But it's like Less Than Jake with a female or with a front woman. There we go. That's probably just the best way to describe it, and even better. So, thank you so much, Caitlin Edwards of Bumsy and the Moochers, for talking with me here on the podcast. It was great catching up with her after a couple years, and really looking forward to hearing that full record. And Andy, you have my vote, man. You need to put out their full length come next year or whenever. I think you should do it if that helps Caitlin and the rest of the guys out. But that's it for this episode of Pop Punk and Pizza. I'm Jacques Lamour. Thank you so much for listening, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I want you to know that I'm extremely thankful and grateful for all of your love and support, and extremely thankful especially for Pop Punk Takeout's support as well, our title sponsor. If you've not heard of Pop Punk Takeout, it's this cool monthly subscription service that delivers pop punk merchandise from all over the world directly to your door in a takeout box. And you can sign up today at poppunktakeout.com. Also follow them on Facebook. Literally all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that at Pop Punk Takeout. They do have a Christmas compilation this year, a Very Pop Punk Christmas Volume 1, that you can also order at poppunktakeout.com. It's only $10. Features a lot of the bands that have actually been interviewed here on Pop Punk and Pizza podcast, like Settle Your Scores, Tiny Kingdoms, Million Miler, for example, Stop Drop Rewind, Eugene Levy, and so many others. So poppunktakeout.com to pre-order that today. I know the compilation is going to ship out on December 13th. And while you're at it, make sure you follow the podcast as well on socials at Pop Punk Pizza Pod. You can give us a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Sign up for our mailing list at poppunkpizzapod.com. You can also buy merch there as well. Just use that promo code POPPUNK to get $2 off your order. And I will talk to you in December.
Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.